Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Source. Got a temporary green screen set up. I'm still about a week away from having the full office set up, but we got a temporary green screen set up so I can start putting out legitimate looking videos. Having a nice week here. First of all, coming off a winning NFL week. I just took the under in the Seahawks-Eagles, and then I live bet Seattle at plus 7.5. But I haven't lost a bet this whole week entering tonight. I actually lost the magic bet, so that undefeated streak, that little 2-day sweep streak I was on is over. But overall, we're having a great week. Would love to keep that rolling. We got Thursday Night Football. It is week 16 already. Christmas weekend coming up, holiday weekend. We got Saints on the road in SoFi to play the Rams. Rams are laying 4 currently, but by the time you're watching this, it might be 4.5. I'm starting to see some 4.5s pop up. Total sitting at 46. Let's do it.
Welcome to The Source. The Source. The Source. Hey, get the Source.
So the public is all over the Rams in this one. Tickets are on the Rams. Handles on the Rams. This line did open up at 3.5 on some books. It quickly moved to 4. And like I said, I am seeing 4.5s pop up. By the time you're watching this, I'm recording this at 11:26 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday night. So by the time you're watching this, we might be looking at 4.5s across the board. We'll see. So yeah, Rams definitely the heavy public side here. Let's talk injuries. Saints offense definitely missing a couple pieces here. Ramczyk has been ruled out at right tackle. Michael Thomas is also going to miss another game. He hasn't played in 5 or 6 weeks now. The good news for the Saints offense, Chris Olave most likely back on the field. He missed the Giants game last week. He was listed as questionable, but from what I'm reading, he's going to be good to go. And actually, it looks like the Saints have removed him from the injury report altogether. So looks like Olave good to go. On the defensive side of the ball, Saints are still missing the same 2 pieces in the secondary. Marcus May still on the IR at safety. Marshawn Lattimore, that's a huge one. They're saying it's unlikely he's activated off the IR this week, so I put him as doubtful. The good news is it sounds like he's going to be able to return in week 17 on New Year's Eve, and that's huge because after this, the Saints finish their season with back-to-back games against the Bucs and Falcons, and those 2 games are basically going to decide who wins the NFC South. So obviously, I'm not an athletic trainer on the Saints, but you would think their goal is to get him back for those 2 games, and if you sit him here, he gets an extra 10 days to heal. So I'd be very surprised if we see Lattimore out here. Let's just, for this video's sake, rule Lattimore out. Let's switch it over to the Rams side and check this out. 0 injuries to the Rams on either side of the ball. Havestein, their right tackle, he was banged up last week. Not even on the injury report this week, so he's good. Same goes for Tutu Atwell. He was listed as questionable last week. He's fully active. On the defensive side, last week, Aaron Donald was listed as questionable. He ended up playing. Not the case this week. He's completely good to go. So the Rams, healthiest team in the NFL right now. So let's match these 2 teams up on the field, and we got to start. We got to give credit where credit's due here. Derek Carr played very well last week against the Giants defense. Odds were stacked against him. No Michael Thomas, no Chris Olave. He went 23 of 28. That's 82% completions, 218 yards, 7.8 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 134.8 passer rating. I mean, he was basically flawless in that game. And the Giants' pass defense has been really good. If you take out their trip to Dallas, and every single pass defense in the NFL gets lit up when they go to Dallas. But if you take out that game, the Giants' pass defense in the previous 7 had held those teams to an average passer rating of just 75, allowing just 5 passing touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So the Giants' pass defense had been playing very well. Derek Carr, without his 2 best receivers, had no problem cooking on that defense. And you know what? That's kind of on par with what we've seen from Derek Carr recently. I mean, his numbers have gotten better every single month this season. You wouldn't really know it by the Saints' success, but September, 85 passer rating. October, 88.7. November, 91.2. December, 111.9. Derek Carr has improved every single month. We were just talking about this in the Discord, though. You got to be careful with Derek Carr. He's like the king of misleading box scores. The Saints will lose a game 19-17, right? Like, they lost 19-17, and you look at the box score, and somehow Derek Carr threw for 314 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, how does that happen in a 19-17 loss? So Derek Carr's stats, especially this season, not always congruent with the Saints' success. Now, the good news for Derek Carr, he's coming off a game against the Giants. Giants have a solid pass rush. They're 12th in pressure rate. Rams have not been generating much pressure at all. In fact, They're dead last in the league, 32nd in pressure rate, 32nd in QB hurry rate. So Carr, coming off a great game against a good pass defense and a solid pass rush, now goes up against the Rams, who have no pass rush at all, or a struggling pass rush, I will say. And Derek Carr is one of those guys who has pretty significant splits when you give him a clean pocket. On the season, when Derek Carr is pressured, he's 19th in completion percentage, 23rd in passer rating. When given a clean pocket, those numbers jump to 8th and 10th. So Derek Carr has shown us he can be efficient when given a clean pocket. Now, the Rams defense against the pass, kind of a tough unit to get a read on. We have seen some serious improvements as of late, though. If you look at their last 5 games since the bye, so right before the bye week, right, the Rams had a 3-game stretch where they were just getting cooked through the air. Let's see who they played. I have it up right here. Sorry, I probably should have it up. So they played Pittsburgh, Dallas, Green Bay before the bye week. And in those 3 games, they're allowing 115, an average passer rating of 115, 9 yards per attempt, and 75% completions. So the Rams pass defense was looking terrible entering the bye week. Since the bye week, though, they've played 5 games, just an 82.9 average opponent passer rating, 6.2 yards per attempt, 56% completions. So the Rams defense definitely taking some giant steps forward since the bye week in those 5 games. Now, you could say, though, against who? Because if you take a closer look at those last 5 Rams games, they played Seattle, and they were dead in the water in that game before Geno Smith got hurt. If you remember, Seattle had the ball up 16-7 in the 4th quarter, so they were up 2 scores with the ball. Then Geno Smith got hurt, and the Rams ended up coming back and winning. Then they played Arizona, Cleveland, then Baltimore, and they played Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, but Lamar had a great game throwing the ball against the Rams. Then Washington last week, and Jacoby Brissett took over, and in the last 2 drives threw for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns on the Rams in the last 9 minutes of the game. So look, the Rams' defensive numbers against the pass, they do look a lot better in the last 5 weeks, but if you take a closer look, you can poke holes in it. I still don't think I trust this secondary. And at SoFi Stadium, somewhat similar conditions to the Superdome, I think we can count on Derek Carr to make some plays on this Rams secondary. Now, what about Alvin Kamara and the Saints run game? Well, it's looked pretty mediocre as of late. In their last 3 games, they're averaging just 99 rushing yards per game, 3.3 yards per carry, and that's not from lack of trying. They're actually 9th in the NFL in the last 3 games, averaging 29.7 attempts a game. So they're trying to run the ball. It's just not working because that 3.33 yards per carry is 26. And 2 of those last 3 games were against the Panthers and the Giants. Those 2 defenses ranked 32nd and 28th against the run, according to DVOA numbers. So on the season, the Saints are just 29th in yards per carry. This has not been an efficient rushing attack this whole season. Now, some good news for Kamara and the Saints. Rams' run defense has been mediocre at best. I mean, it's actually been slightly below average. On the season, they're just 24th in adjusted line yards, 19th in DVOA, 15th in yards per carry allowed. But if you take a look at the Rams' home-away splits against the run, their last 4 games on the road, allowing 124 rushing yards per game, 4.75 yards per carry. But their last 4 games at home at SoFi, 80 rushing yards per game, 3.4 yards per carry. So the Rams have actually done a good job against the run in their last 4 games here at home. But again, we got to look at opponents on this one. Washington, Cleveland, Seattle, Pittsburgh, and that Steelers game was back in October. That was the Najee Harris Steelers. That was pre-Jalen Warren. So yeah, maybe they're only allowing 3.4 yards per carry at home because they haven't been tested by any dangerous rushing attacks. But I mean, we're talking about the Saints. The Saints don't have a particularly strong rushing attack. So I'd have to say I trust this Rams defense to do a solid job against the run in this one. Situational stats on this side of the ball, kind of a wash. Rams have a slight edge in the red zone. Rams defense 12th in red zone percentage. Saints offense 21st. Now let's flip it over to the other side of the ball and talk about the Saints defense. The Saints defense against the pass, top 10 this year on the season. 8th in DVOA, 5th in opponent yards per attempt allowed, 2nd in opponent passer rating. So on the season, Saints have excellent numbers against the pass. But it's not hard to poke holes in this Saints pass defense. First off, they've only played 4 games this entire season against top 12 passing attacks DVOA-wise. In those games, they went 0-4, allowing an average of 25.5 points per game, a full touchdown more than their season average of 18.8. So the Rams pass defense has excellent numbers on the season, but all 4 times they've seen a good passing attack, they've lost and they've given up points. And this Rams offense might be a particularly bad matchup for the Saints defense. The Saints have excellent numbers against receivers on the edge, but they've been letting up a lot of yards to the slot. Check this out. Their slot corner, Alontae Taylor, of the Saints' top 4 corners, he is the lowest snap to target rate, lowest snap to reception rate, highest reception rate allowed, and the highest average passer rating allowed out of those Saints' top 4 corners. So that has been the weakness of this Saints pass defense, is the slot. And of the 25 most frequent slot corners in coverage, so if you take all the corners in the NFL and take the 25 who have taken the most snaps covering in the slot, he is dead last, 25th in snaps for targets, 23rd in snaps for reception, 5th in yard, whatever. I don't need to go through them all. Bottom line is this guy's been getting cooked in the slot this year. You want to know who leads the Rams in snaps out of the slot? Cooper Kupp. And he's been on an absolute rampage. In his last 2 games, he's got 16 catches, 216 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So you might look at the Saints' pass defense numbers on the season and say, hey, Matt Stafford might have trouble getting this going here. But without Marshawn Lattimore and their struggles against slot wide receivers, both Kupp and Nacua can both play out of the slot. I think we can count on the Rams to get the ball up and down the field through the air pretty easily in this one. But what about the Saints' run defense? Are they going to be able to slow down Kyren Williams? Numbers say no. I mean, there's some major concerns with the Saints defense against the run. This is not the Saints defense that we've seen in years past. I mean, this is not a Dennis Allen defense. It certainly doesn't look like one. Sure, they managed to shut down the New York Giants, just 60 yards rushing, 18 carries, 3.8 yards per carry. But the Giants are the 2nd worst rushing attack in the NFL, DVOA wise. Look at the Saints' previous 6 games. 6. This is a solid sample size. This is the Saints' 6 games before the Giants. They're allowing 169.8 rush yards per game, 5.11 yards per carry. The Saints were getting steamrolled on the ground for 6 straight games before that Giants game. On the season, the Saints are 27th in yards per carry allowed, 24th in DVOA, 19th in adjusted line yards. This is not a good run defense. And the Rams run game, I mean, this has got to be one of the most surprising units in the NFL this year. Rams have a top 10 rushing attack and honestly, maybe a top 5 right now. On the season, the Rams are 8th in DVOA, 8th in yards per carry, 6th in adjusted line yards. And if you isolate it to their last 4 games since Kyren Williams came back from injury, they've been absolutely insane on the ground. 168 rushing yards per game, over 31 yards per carry, so they're running the shit out of the ball. 5.38 yards per carry. It's been one of the most dangerous rushing attacks in the NFL since Kyren Williams came back from injury. So even if you're not a Matt Stafford fan, even if you didn't like my angle about the slot receivers, about Marshawn Lattimore being out, and hey, not everyone likes those advanced metrics. I get it. They can be overkill at times. But even if you don't like that, how can you make a point for the Saints defense to stop Kyren Williams in the Rams run game? I'm just not seeing it. I mean, I think the Rams offensively are going to be able to do whatever they want in this game. I do have an underdog pick 'em in this one. It's a 3-pick, so it pays out 6 times, and I went all hires. Derek Carr, higher passing yards. Like I said, even when the Saints lose, he still finds a way to put up big numbers, and I like his matchup in this stadium against the Rams defense. Matt Stafford, higher pass yards, another higher. Kyren Williams, higher rush yards, 90.5. It's that high for a reason. I expect him to get 20+ carries in this one. So yeah, Kyren Williams higher. It's a 3-pick, so like I said, it pays out 6 times. If you don't have an Underdog fantasy account, it's available in any state highlighted in this map. So if you're in one of these states highlighted in yellow, head over to the website, or you can download the app Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use the promo code BET. BET. That'll get you a $100 deposit bonus. So you deposit $100 and they will give you a free $100 to play with. As far as what I'm betting in this game, you already know I'm taking the over at 46. I mean, I'm sure you were able to decipher that based on my notes. I'm definitely on the over here. I'm going to play the Rams. I actually grabbed it right before I started recording at 4, just in case by the time I finished recording all the 4s were gone. So I did grab the Rams at 4. Also looking at a possible Rams team total over. Look, it's probably the square way to look at it. Heavy public's on the Rams, but I think the angle that I like is a lot of people are going to look and based on the numbers think the Saints have a good pass defense, but in reality I don't like this matchup at all, and I think Stafford can throw the ball as well as the Rams should have no problem running the ball. So I think the public's got this one right. Give me Rams -4, over 46, possible Rams team total over as well. Let's do it. If you want our top bets for all sports, parlays of the day, or you want to join our Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. We're having a nice week. Let's keep that rolling. NFL Week 16, Thursday Night Football. Let's have ourselves a good one. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.